start our 2021 Halloween display. We are going to start with our first big piece. This is our spider web arch. We used the same PVC piping arches we did for last Christmas, but ended up adding the webbing and everything just to make it a little bit spookier for Halloween. The three of the spiders we already had. So we had this guy, we had the big guy in there, and then on the other side there's one, but we did buy a couple more just to add to it. And then we wanted to make this year more interactive, so this way if you are coming to our house you can walk through the spider web arch. You can see as you walk through we have a couple more spiders. We also have this guy who's gotten caught in the web hanging. He also lights up and everything for if you walk by. And then going this way, this is the big mommy spider, and she is surrounded by all of her babies. We have our little alarm here, so that goes off.
Zombie virus has been detected in the area. Zombies approaching. Proceed with caution.
When you walk by, and then obviously we have all of our beware signs. And then on this side we have another casualty to the spiders on the ground, covered in baby spiders and webbing. To the left of the house we kept pretty simple this year. We just have a couple of our inflatables. We obviously have our giant spider with the thought of it worked perfect right before the web. We have our pumpkin man, our fire ghost, and then I'm honestly not 100% sure what he's supposed to be, but he's just a little creepy. And then on the opposite side of the sidewalk we do have a couple little things. We have our corner bag with our zombie head in there. And then we do have a little spotlight, so at night he stays lit. And then over here we have a reaper just hanging out in the tree. And once again, a little spotlight for him for at night. Alright, and now to the right side of the house, this is where we have a lot more going on. We will start over here. We have our white reaper who lights up at night as well, with our little zombie on top of our cemetery sign and our keep out sign. All the fencing is new this year from Menards. We just have that going around the graveyard. The graveyard has slowly grown every year. We started out with just a couple homemade graves and then have slowly added some other ones from all over throughout the grave. We do have little things that pop out at you. Let's see if I can get them to go. And then at night there's also going to be projectors and lights on them that you can see them better. We also added this year the fog machine. That way the whole ground gets fogged up. And then over here we have another little jump scare guy. And then here you can see some of our different graves have different projectors on that only show up at night. So we got that one. In the back we have some eyes that show up. Over here we have some reapers floating around. There's some skulls on the cauldron back there. And then over here we have another face, but in purple. Moving more towards the back of the graveyard, we have our little skeleton mice with their cheese to go with the big cat. It is still a little bit foggy from the fog machine, but he's got his little treat under him. And then over here to the left is actually where the fog machine is. And then we have our hanging reaper here for our electric chair guy. This was a DIY Bobby did this year. Obviously the skeleton he bought, but the chair he actually found on the side of the road. It was broke, it didn't have arms, so he modified it to make the electric chair, adding the skeleton, obviously the wires, and then this little danger voltage box we've had for a while. But that is another one that looks really cool at night. And as you can see, we've got the smoke going to him as well to show that he's fried. I actually have a projector that mounts in this skeleton that projects onto the garage as well.
Dark tidings present themselves. Very dark for you, I'm afraid.
The Monster Mash. It was a graveyard smash. Something weird, and it don't look good. Who you gonna call? The creepy and the kooky, mysterious and spooky. They're all together kooky, the Addams Family.
Our little witch setup is new this year as well. We've got our warlocks on the ends with our witch in the middle and their little smoking cauldron down here. Each one of them have their own little effects. She tells spells and the other guys light up. But that's our little witch setup this year. Looks like they're doing their little summoning inside the graveyard. Here you can see we have our skeleton guys. We got these from Walmart, I believe last year, carrying in the casket to said graveyard. And he's got his zombie in the casket. These are kind of what got us a little bit more away from the inflatables. Obviously we still have them, and more towards sort of the life-size animatronic type things. We went a little bit more creepy Halloween than whimsical. If you saw last year's, we were a little bit more whimsical. This year is definitely more on the creepy side. This carriage and horse guy is the oldest inflatable we have. This is actually a hand-me-down from Bobby's dad, but we use him every year. I think he works really well with the graveyard, carrying stuff in again. And then next to him we have our creepy tree with the ghosts and the pumpkins and the little owl. We have our giant ghost right next to him. And then we have this guy a little bit further back from the graveyard purely because he doesn't do well with wind. So having him pushed back towards the house and in the center, it protects him a little bit more that way. Alright, so here we are at our front door. We have another Reaper hanging. We have our little mats, Happy Halloween, and I put a spell on you. This is our jumping brown recluse spider. And then we have our play doorbell next to our real one. And then for lights, we always change out our lights depending on the holiday. So we have our fire lights up there with zombie feeding area. And here is another new one for us this year. Our little granny sitting on our front porch in her rocking chair, just babysitting her grandbabies. As you can see, she is a little worse for the wear. She's definitely been rode hard and hung out wet. She's got her zombie granddaughter and her ghost granddaughter. And then over here to the left, she's got her little pet. He obviously has had a couple treats. And down here, just a couple pumpkins with a nice little rat.